Welcome to the course. My name is Nick Hinojosa and I'll be your instructor. This is CITP 3302 Advanced Networking. Here's a picture of our textbook that we'll be using in this class. This textbook, you can find it online. You can rent it. I saw it on Amazon. I say about $30 or so. But if you find it cheaper somewhere else, you can certainly get it there. And it comes with a software CD. You can go ahead and, if you find a rental or a used copy, don't worry if it doesn't have the disc. We won't need it. My office is in Pecan Campus, Building M. It's in 135. Whenever you need to get a hold of me, you can just send me a text or call this number here. This is 320-9060. The only thing I ask, though, is if you do send me a text, just let me know what course you're in. That way I can help you a little bit better. You can also call my office number. My office number is here. The only thing I do ask is that you do leave a message on my office phone. That message is emailed to me, and then that way I can call you back right away. The best way to get a hold of me, though, is through email. I have my phone hooked up to my email, so as soon as you send me a message, I'll retrieve it right away. You can also contact me here using the Blackboard messages. Usually I get a notification on my phone whenever you do send me a message, so that way I can get back to you right away. And I do have a lot of office hours this semester on campus. But if for some reason you need help from home, you're having trouble with your virtual machine, or you're having some sort of technical issue, you can also make an appointment with me, and we can have a virtual meeting online, and I can talk to you. Just for that, you're just going to click here where it says virtual meeting. So you just click here, and it's going to open up this thing called Blackboard Collaborate. And you can go into the course room, and it'll give you some instructions on how to use it. But basically, you can join the course room, and make sure whenever you're using Blackboard Collaborate Ultra that you're using the Chrome browser, because with the Chrome browser you can share your screen with me, and then I can help you better because I can see what's going on. And you can just join course room. And if it's your first time using it, it may give you some instructions on how to go about it. To test the microphone, we're testing it here. I don't need help. Or yeah, it's working. You can skip the video test. Yeah, very useful tool. If you all have ever used TeamViewer before for remote desktop to share your screen with others. I was using TeamViewer for a while, but I recently got banned from using it because I was using it too much. So now I'm using the Blackboard Collaborate, and it works pretty good. And then here are some of the options. To turn on your microphone, you just press this here. You can share content. And then when you share content, when you want to share your screen with me, you can just press share screen here. And if I'm in the room to help you out, then we can also voice chat as well. Okay, so that's a little bit about Blackboard Collaborate. So many ways I can assist you in the course. Okay, so I'm going to go to the first week of course content. And there are several things that we need to take care of this week. So we're going to go to getting started here. And the first things we need to do is you need to go into the discussion board. Make sure to introduce yourself to everybody in the class. We need to install Packet Tracer. We'll be using that this semester. Network Simulator. We're also going to install VMware Player. And with VMware Player, we're going to set up a virtual machine. And we're going to run a simulator called GNS3 on that one. And most of the work in the course will be done in GNS3, but we'll have a few labs in Packet Tracer, so we're going to need both. So I'm going to show you how to get that all running and going. And then just make sure to acquire your book. Now, as far as the introduction, here's the discussion forum. Make sure you reply to somebody whenever you fill this out. That way I can input the grade for you. I believe I set the due date for the introduction by Wednesday. And I use it for roster verification. So please make sure to take care of it as soon as possible. But since I'm asking you all these questions about yourself, about your name and all that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself as well. So that way you know a little bit more about me. The name that I prefer to be called, usually people out in the world, they call me Nick. Call me Nick as well. The discipline of my associate's degree, actually I'm a graduate of South Texas College. I have my associates in math. I also have my bachelor's in computer and information technology, so I've taken all the courses that you're going to be taking as well. My current job, of course, I'm an instructor here at the college. I teach for the computer science department. I also teach computer and information technology courses. But before that, I used to be a telemarketer. I used to work at GameStop, still video games. I've done drug testing. I've done quite a few different things here and there. But definitely teaching is my favorite job. My hobbies and interests, I like drawing a lot when I have time. I used to draw. I like to draw people's faces, portraits. Right now, I'm playing a video game called Octopath Traveler. It's an old style RPG game. It's a lot of fun. It's on the Nintendo Switch. If you're into those type of games, I definitely recommend it. Some of the accomplishments in my life. Well, I acquired my master's degree in information technology, so I feel that was a huge accomplishment in my life. And one of the main reasons I pursued my master's degree in information technology is because I really enjoyed my time at South Texas College, and I wanted to return to the college, and I wanted to help students and to be an instructor. So that was one of the main reasons I acquired it. Do I have the textbook for the course? Yeah, I have a copy of it. And just make sure whenever you fill this out, you can respond to another classmate in the discussion board. And you can also put a picture of yourself if you want as your avatar, because we'll be having a few discussions in the course, so that way everybody can communicate with each other and interact. Okay? So first thing we're going to do is going through this, know what we need to do. If we go back to course content, there's a folder here that has all the files and things that you're going to need for the class. So we're going to go ahead and download and set this up right now. Okay, so first thing we'll do is we'll download the customized Bodhi Linux 32-bit live CD DVD. Now, this file here is what we call an ISO disk image file. It's pretty much a file that represents an actual physical DVD, except we're not going to burn the file to an actual DVD. We're going to use it digitally, and that digital file we usually call an ISO. And this ISO has the Linux operating system on it, and also the files you'll need for the class. It's all packaged into one unit. So we'll need to download this, and then we're going to use it. You're going to see a message here that says no preview available. You can just hit download. It's 1.4 gigs. It's kind of big, but I'm hoping if everybody has a high-speed internet, it shouldn't be a problem. So this is the disk image file. Just go ahead and hit save, and that should start downloading for you. So we'll let that download. And then what we're going to do is we're going to install the VMware Workstation Player, the free version here. So we're going to go here, and then it says try Workstation Player for Windows. So we're going to go ahead and download that. And then just click OK, hit save. Now, for those that have never created a virtual machine before, You have to imagine a virtual machine like having a computer inside of your computer, right? So my host machine here, I'm using Windows 10, but when I have a virtual machine running, then I can have another operating system running on inside of it. So since we need to use Linux in the course, then I'm going to create a virtual machine or a virtual computer, and that computer is going to run on my system. So that way I can run Windows 10 and I can run Linux at the same time. Alright, so we'll download that. Okay, so after the two files download, I'm going to go here to the VMware Player 14. And then it says VMware Installation Launcher. I'm going to hit yes. And it's going to go through the installation process. I'll probably speed up the video a little bit so that way you don't have to sit through the whole installation. As far as the video, I'll go ahead and edit that. Okay, so here the wizard, just hit next. Agree to the license. You can go ahead and put the enhanced keyboard driver if you want. So go ahead and hit next. And I'm going to uncheck some of this stuff. And if you want to create desktop icons, you can. Then we'll go ahead and begin the installation process. Shouldn't take too long to install. Okay, so once it finishes installing, we just go ahead and hit finish. And it may want us to restart because of the fact that we had put that enhanced keyboard driver. I'm going to hit no for now. Okay. And then on the next reboot, then it should be okay. We'll try it that way first. Okay, so once it's installed, we can go ahead and click here on the VMware Player. And we're going to create a virtual machine. And we're going to use it for free and non-commercial use. And continue. And hit finish. And it's going to open up like this. And we have several options here. We can open an existing virtual machine. We can create a new one. So here we're going to create a new one for us. So you click here, create. And the first question here is going to be, do you want to, like, let's say I'm going to create a virtual machine for Windows 10 or for some other operating system. Then the installation disk could either be a physical disk that's inside my disk drive, or I can use a disk image. So that would be just like a file of a CD, not the actual CD itself, which is what you downloaded earlier. But we're not actually going to install the operating system. We're going to just run it off of the ISO. So we're just going to go ahead and do this later. It says I will install the operating system later. The virtual machine will be created with a blank hard disk. Okay, so we'll go with that option and hit next. And then we need to choose our operating system here. So I'm going to go with Linux. And then we have several options here. All different types of operating systems. So what we're going to do is we're just going to choose Ubuntu. But there's two of them. There's a 64-bit and a 32-bit. We're just going to go with the 32-bit one. And then go and hit next. And it wants to know where we're going to save our virtual machine. So there's a folder in the documents folder called virtual machines. So we'll just go ahead and do that. The virtual machine name, we could name it, you can name it anything you want, really. I'm going to put just GNS3. That's the name of the simulator. So I'm going to hit next. Now, as far as the hard drive, we're going to run everything off that ISO. We're not really going to save anything. So whenever you do the labs, you're going to turn in screenshots of your work. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to do, I think the lowest value is 0.08. Yeah, it's as low as it can go. Yeah. So then I'm going to hit next. And this is just like building a real computer, except it's all digital, it's all virtual. And here on the memory requirements, we need to put at least 2 gigabytes of memory. So I'm going to hit customize hardware. And I recommend 2 gigabytes if you have them to spare. Because remember, you're sharing your memory that you have on your computer. Let's say your computer comes with 8 gigabytes of memory. Then you need to allocate at least 2 of those gigabytes to this virtual machine. So that's the thing with having this type of systems here. The more of them that you have, the more memory you have to allocate. So if you have 16 gigabytes or 32 gigabytes, then you can have a lot of virtual machines running, and then you can share your RAM with all of them. Okay, so I would say 2 gigabytes, which would be 2048 megabytes. So that should be good. Right here, because it has all the parts of a regular computer. It's got the memory, the processor, the network adapter. So everything is here. Here where it says new CD DVD, I'm going to use an ISO image. And then I'm going to go ahead and browse. And remember, we had gone to the downloads and we had downloaded this Bowdie 4.2.0. So we're going to mount that. And then that should be it for the settings. And then we can go ahead and hit finish. And that'll create our virtual machine for us. Our virtual machine is turned off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and power this on. And then hit yes. Okay, so it's not starting up. It says here VMware player failed to start the VMware authorization service. That could be of a result of not restarting the machine. So that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to restart the computer. And then after we restart it, then it should load up. So I'll be back, restart the computer, and from there we'll go ahead and continue. Okay, so we're back after a reboot. Now we're going to go back to VMware Workstation Player and see if we can get the machine running. So we did a restart. So now double click. And if you see anything that says removable, you can just hit OK. So now it's booting up. You can either press enter here to get it started, or it'll start automatically. So eventually it's going to load up. And once you see the desktop, you can press this button here and you should enter full screen mode. And then that way you can start working on it from here. And also our network simulator called GNS3 will start up automatically. Right? And it's going to ask you to create a project. You can click OK. And if it asks you to get a new version of it, just hit no. And then we'll make this full screen. If I can get to the options here. So let's go there. And then you can click this button here and that'll make it full screen. Okay, for some reason, if your virtual machine does not boot up at all, and you've never run virtualization on your computer ever before, a lot of times it's disabled by default, and you need to enable it in your computer's BIOS. Usually you can access the BIOS screen. You may have seen it before in the past on other computers. So what I went ahead and did here is I went to Google and I put enable virtualization in BIOS. And usually this is the most common reason why it won't start up. You have to go into the BIOS of the computer. And usually you can get to that when you first boot up. When you first boot it up, it'll tell you there for setup or for options. You press either the F1, F2, F8 key. It all depends on the type of computer that you have. But the point is you need to get into the BIOS system, and then you look for something called Intel Virtualization Technology, and then you just make sure that it's enabled. Now, some computers have it enabled, some have it disabled. I've noticed lately that a lot of them have it disabled. So, and I just put a picture here because all the BIOS are different depending on the type of computer that you have. So here's some examples of how it might look depending on the system that you're using. Now, if you encounter this problem and it's not loading for you, then shoot me an email. Tell me the type of computer that you have, and I can go ahead and give you better information or better instructions on how to get it enabled. But if it's loaded for you, then that's good. You don't have to mess with this. But most of the time, it looks something like one of these, and you go to the security tab or the security settings, and then from there, you can enable it, right? And then you might see a message like this one. I can't really duplicate it here because I have it already enabled on my system. But if you do encounter this problem, please let me know. So that was the other thing I wanted to take care of this week as well, making sure that your virtual machine loads, and if it doesn't load, that way I can help you resolve it. Right? But once you get this going and it boots up, and you see the GNS3 screen here, then you're good to go for the rest of the semester. Okay, so let's go ahead and get familiar with using GNS3, the network simulator. So what we're going to do first is we're going to set up a very simple network, and we can get to all our devices. We're going to press this button here, and it's going to show everything that's available for us. And we have here some devices that are provided to us with the GNS3 simulator, and then we have some other devices here that I provided to you that are open source routers and open source switches. Now, a lot of people use GNS3 to prepare for certification in Cisco, for either for the CCNA or for the CCENT. Now, legally, I cannot provide you with Cisco software as far as iOS, so that way we can put it in the GNS3. But if you look for videos online, there's a lot of tutorials with people that do have access to Cisco iOS, and they use it to set up networks and to practice the commands to prepare for certification. All right, so you can watch some of those videos and see how they go about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do a simple network. We're going to get one router, and this router here is called Quega. That's the name of the operating system on it. Now Quega has a syntax that's somewhat similar to Cisco. It's not exactly the same, but very similar. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to get an Ethernet switch. Okay, so we'll have switch 1 there. And whenever you want more of the same device, you can just drag it over and it'll duplicate it. It'll create another one. So then that creates, so we're going to have 2 switches here. And then we have a virtual PC, which is this VPCS here. Now these act like host machines, so we can use them. They're very simple. They allow us to configure the IP address, the default gateway. So they're great for testing purposes. right? And it's real simple to use, so I'll show you how to do that here. So we'll have a network, something like this. And make sure here at the top, make sure you click on Show Hide Interface Labels. So that'll help us as we're starting to connect everything. We can see the names of the interfaces. And then to connect everything, you can get the wire here. And then the cursor will change to a little cross. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the router. And I'm going to start from Ethernet 0. And I'm going to plug it into the first port on the switch. And this GNS3 switch is really nice. You can configure it using a graphical user interface. It's very simple to use. And then I'm going to connect the next port on my switch. I'm going to connect it to my virtual PC number 1. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the router again. And this time I'm going to go from Ethernet 1. And I'm going to connect that to the first port on the switch. And then from the second port of the switch, I'm going to connect it to the PC here. And then once you're done connecting everything, you can just click this button and it'll remove the wire there. And then we can start moving our devices around. You can arrange this however you want. And then we know that this, you can also move the labels. This E0/0 is the first port on the Quega. And then this one here is the second port. You can put that there. And what I like to do, I like to put the labels, arrange them in a certain way. The switches, that doesn't really matter, just leave it as is. But here I like to assign or write the IP addresses. So whenever I'm configuring it, I can refer back to this topology diagram. So I'm going to go here under text edit on the first label. And this E0/0, I'm going to just put the first IP, and we'll just keep it simple. We'll do 192.168.0.1, and then with the /24 as the subnet mask. So we'll apply that there, and then click OK. Move the label off to the side so I can read it. So we're going to have two networks here. We're going to have the 192.168.0 network, and then on this side we're going to have the 192.168.1 network, and then the first interface is .1 there. I'm going to apply that. So two networks, right? .0 and .1. So then this PC here belongs to the .0 network. So I'm going to do 192.168.0, and then the next usable address can be .2. And then the default gateway is going to be the address for the port here on this router. So it's going to be 192.168.0.1. I'm going to apply that. Click OK. Now on this side, the IP address can be 192.168.1.2/24, and the default gateway is 192.168.1.1. Hit apply there. Click OK. And you know what? Let me put the /24 here as well. We're going to apply. Click OK. Okay, so we have our IP addresses. We have our router here in the middle. We have switches here, so we could hook up more devices to this network. But for now, this should be good enough. Now, to start up all the devices, you can just press this giant play button here. So that should load everything. You'll notice that the CPU here is going to go kind of crazy. So you just have to wait for everything to load. Press play. Yeah, it went up to 100%. So eventually it'll go down once everything is booted up. Now, to connect to all the devices, or all the nodes, you can go here under Control, and then you can do Console Connect to all nodes. Okay, so then that will open up PC 1, and it'll open up an application called RoxTerm. RoxTerm is just a terminal emulator with tabs, so it makes it very easy to configure everything, and I already have that set up for you here. Now, if you want to go back and forth between the topology diagram and the console here, or the terminal, then what you can do is you can just right click here, and you can put always on top, and that way no matter if you click here, you click anywhere else, it'll load up. Okay, now just wait for Quega to load. Sometimes it takes a little while. It's not sometimes it loads up very quickly, sometimes it takes a little bit, but eventually it should load. If it doesn't load, let me know after an hour or something, but it shouldn't take that long. The other thing you can do is if you go to let's see, where is it? Here under view, you can zoom in, and that'll increase the font size, make it a little bit easier to see. Okay, so Quega 1 is still loading, so we'll just let it be. So we're here on PC 1, and PC 1 we have to configure this information here. Now if you want to see all the different commands for PC 1, just press question mark, and it tells you everything you can do here. The main command we're going to use is IP. So we're going to do IP and then question mark, and then it shows you the syntax here. So I want to configure the address, the mask, or if I'm using DHCP, then I would do that. I would type this command. So I'm going to do IP, and then the address is going to be 192.168.0.2. And then you can put the subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0. And then the other piece of information that you need is the default gateway. So in this case, the default gateway for this network is going to be 192.168.0.1. And then just press enter. Okay. And that should be configured here. I believe there is a show command. Yeah, so you just do show IP, and then that shows you all the different settings, right? So we need to check the IP address, make sure we did it right. So very easy to use. Okay, so now we're going to go to PC2, and we're going to do the same thing. We can move this over, and then we can look at the address here. So that's going to be IP 192.168.1.2, and you can actually just do the /24 instead, and then I'm going to do 192.168.1.1 as the gateway, and then just press enter and make sure that goes through. There you go. And then you can verify, do show IP. Okay. Now let's try to ping PC1. Can we ping PC1? So let's do ping 192.168, and that's going to be .0.2. And will it communicate? Nope. Well, because the gateway hasn't been configured yet, so it's not going to communicate. So that's where we have the router, and we're going to configure that. So now we go to Quega here, and if you press enter, then it should allow you to log in. So to log into this Quega system here, we're going to do TC. And then to get to the actual Quega operating system so we can actually configure this router, we're going to type a command vtysh, and then press enter. Okay, and then that opens up Quega. It says, hello, this is Quega, and it tells you the version. Okay. Now from here, you can look at the commands that are available. We could do the, you can configure, you can do the show commands, show run, just like a Cisco router. You can see the running configuration for this device. Notice that the interface names right? We have ETH0, ETH1, ETH2, ETH3. Okay, so we have that set up there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to configure config T, and we need to configure the interfaces. So we have two interfaces here. So the first one is going to be int, and even though it says E0/0, the actual name of it using the running config is actually this one. So it's going to be ETH0. Okay, and then we're going to be able to configure the interface now and the address. So we're going to do IP address, and then that's going to be 192.168.0.1. And unlike a Cisco device, you can actually do the /24 here instead of the 255.255.255.0. Okay. And it's already on. You don't need to do the no shutdown. So now we're going to configure the next interface. That's ETH1. Okay. And then we'll put the IP address as well. So this one, according to our diagram, is going to be 192.168.1.1/24. And then press enter. Okay. And then we can verify the routes. So once you finish configuring the interfaces, we can type ind, and then we're going to do show IP route. And notice here we have two directly connected routes. All right, we have since this interface is configured with this network, right? So it shows that network there, that network number. And then on the other side, it also shows the .1.0 network, right? And they're both directly connected. So now if we go to PC1, we should be able to ping the other side. So we can ping first. We can ping the gateway, see if the gateway responds. Right, and the gateway is responding. Okay. Now we're going to go through the gateway and we're going to ping PC2. So that's going to be ping 192.168.1.2. Okay, and now they're communicating. Alright, let's go back to PC2. And before we couldn't ping anything. Let's try to ping again. You can just press up. Right. And now it's working, and now they're communicating. Okay, so that is GNS3 in a nutshell. Very brief. We're going to do a lot more stuff with it. So I want to make sure everything's working for you first. Now, to turn in your assignments, normally you have to take a screenshot of whatever it is you're working on. So if you could somehow arrange this to show, let's see if I can resize it. I'm having a little bit of trouble resizing there. Oh, you can always move this over a little bit. And if you're not using this, you can also hide that. That gives you a little bit more room. Alright, so you can do something like this just so I can see your topology diagram. I can see your commands here. So if you want to, just take a screenshot of either PC1 or PC2 being able to ping the other side. And to do the screenshot in Linux, let's see if I remember. Let's go ahead and just press the print screen key. See if that does anything for us. Yeah, you see, and there you go. It brings up this application called ePhoto. And then you can just I think it's asking where to save the pictures and whatnot. So I think they're already saved. There you go. Right, and there's the picture here. So now you got to get this picture and upload it to Blackboard. So the easiest way to do that is you can just go here to the Chrome web browser. It should load for us. and it just takes a little bit. Okay, and then here you can log into the college's website, to Blackboard. You can go to Blackboard here. I think I can maximize this. Oh, and if your console here is still on the, always on top, you can get rid of that. There you go. And you can go and log in. And then if I go into student mode, I can actually upload the assignment. So I'm going to go here, go back to week 1. And you can browse my computer, and it should be, I believe, under either pictures. Yeah, it's under pictures. It's already labeled here. It has the date, it has the time. This is perfect. Just go ahead and open that, and you can go and turn that in for a credit and just submit. Yeah, and it should show you the preview of the image. There you go. Oh, maybe another thing that's kind of important too is, if you remember to do this, it would help me out a lot. Go ahead and just make sure on your screenshot that you, well, I already closed the terminal. Oh, no, I have it here, I think. Oh no. Yeah, so if you just remember, if you could just do a label and then just put your name, your information, that would help me out a lot. Right, so that way I know it's your file and whatnot. Okay. So we'll definitely do more in GNS3. I just want you to get familiar with it. When you finish doing your work here and you want to close GNS3, you can just hit stop here and you can stop everything. Now the only thing about when you stop, it does delete your configuration. It doesn't really save anything. So that's why the screenshot's so important. Make sure you get it right, because once you turn it off, then you do lose your work. Right? So just keep that in mind. So you can just close that out. Okay. We can close this as well. There's our screenshot there. Now, whenever you want to start GNS3 again, even after you close it, you can just go here to the terminal, the little old computer screen there, and then just type GNS3 here. That's the command, and then it'll open it up automatically, right? And if you don't create a project, it'll tell you to create one, even though we're not really gonna save the projects, but you just need to at least have it open in order for you to set up things. Okay. Now, the other thing you can do with your virtual machine, let's say you're doing your work and you don't have time to finish it and you need to come back to it later, then what you can always do is you can do suspend guest, and that'll close the virtual machine, but it'll save like a screenshot of it, or a snapshot, I mean. So that way you can always come back to it later, right? So you can just do suspend. It's not really turning it off. It'll preserve the environment and whatever you're working on, so that way you can use it at a later time. Right? So you can do that, and then it's in suspended mode. So then whenever you go back to VMware Workstation Player and see it's in suspended mode, so it'll save whatever you're working on, and you just press play and it'll take you back to that instance. So a very useful trick. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is download Packet Tracer with Cisco. So to get back to this software and files folder, just make sure to go to course content, click on software and files. And then we need to register with the Cisco Networking Academy. They don't just give you Packet Tracer. I mean, it is free, but you do need to make an account. And sometimes making an account can be a little challenging. So let's try to see if we can do it together. Okay, so I'm going to go here to the Net Academy website. And in order to get Packet Tracer, you need to enroll in a free course with Cisco that shows you how to use Packet Tracer. If you've never used it before, you're not familiar with it, I highly recommend that you go through the course. But it's optional, it's up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and enroll for it. So you go enroll to download Packet Tracer. And here you want to click on sign up today, and then you're going to click on English. And then you need to put in your information here. So I'm just going to put my name. And I'm going to put my email address. Let's go Packet Tracer 101 at gmail.com. Now make sure you do put a real email address in case you need to recover your password or verify your account. So then here I'm going to put my password. I'm going to put here okay, and then I'm going to put Texas mail. I'm going to put date of birth. Okay, that is not my real birthday. Today's not my birthday. Don't send me any presents. Okay. And create an account. And then hopefully we can log in. Once we can log in, then we should be able to download. Okay, so once you log in there, I'm going to click on Launch Course. And we need to find the place to download Packet Tracer. One Launch Course. And it's going to take you through all that. Click the image to begin. Okay, so this is the course. It actually looks really nice. They've updated it, so that's great. So let me try to see if I can go here and find the download. So if we scroll down under resources maybe, and then there you go. You can do the download depending on your operating system. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 64-bit. Oh, and they also have a Linux version. That's very nice. So then I'm gonna save that. And it is downloaded. Now I believe once we run it for the first time, you may need to log in using that password you set up, username and password. But we'll find out right now. And then click here. Then extract. It is a zip file, so make sure you do extract it. Okay, and then we'll go and do the setup and hit run. and I hit yes. And then I accept the agreement even though I didn't read it. Okay. And we'll go ahead and wait for that to download or install itself. Okay, so it finished installing. I'm going to press OK. I'm going to hit finish, and that should launch Packet Tracer. So you're running it for the first time. So I'm going to click OK. So you see it does want us to log in. So I'm going to do Cisco Packet Tracer 101 at gmail.com. And I'm going to put in my credentials there. And there you go. So this does seem very updated, a little bit different from the last time I used it. But that's okay, it should still function the same. Right? So we'll definitely be doing some labs here using this tool, but I just want to make sure everybody gets it installed, running, and going this week for sure. Okay. So other than that, I hope you have a great semester. I hope you enjoy the course. Want to welcome you to here, and I will definitely be seeing you in the next videos. Right? So if you have any questions, if you're having trouble loading the virtual machine, loading GNS3, any problems that you're having, please feel free to contact me anytime, and I'll be here to help you out. Okay? So then I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.